So welcome to this bonus lesson, a follow-up of the two sessions that I did for Ancora Publishing and for Safe and Civil Schools. There were many questions, many comments afterwards. And so I'm going to be doing three sort of bonus follow-ups so that it might hit exactly what you need to know. So one of the questions I got was, if I was a intermediate teacher, third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade, what could I do that would be kind of low prep but high outcome and short recorded lessons that if I did them now, I could even utilize them later. So I picked a number of areas, but the first one is the area of spelling. And so this is about how to do a remote recorded lesson for a spelling lesson. Would you just write these words down before we get started? Because in teaching spelling, the students should not see the words, but you need the words for your lesson. Also write that sentence down on your paper. All right. So when I did this, there were two things that I wanted to share with you. Why spelling? Because you probably are thinking about doing much more exciting things, but spelling would be worth it with your third, fourth, fifth, or sixth graders. For example, it is an absolute foundational skill. There's not a day that goes by where you do not write something down and have to use your spelling skills. And spelling needs to be automatic so that most of our cognition can go to what we want to include in our composition and not to the spelling. There's handwriting needs to be automatic, spelling needs to be automatic, knowledge about punctuation needs to be automatic. So let us give time to something that is often overlooked, but we have many poor spellers. Even our teachers in middle school and high school will tell you, please spend some time on spelling. It's the content area that seems to be overlooked, maybe because in the Common Core it was given one line, spells at grade level. Well, it should have been given much more time than that. And one of the reasons is, if I work on spelling or encoding, I will improve decoding. And so this is one of the ways that we could work on more advanced decoding through the vehicle of spelling or encoding. And the activity that makes the most difference in terms of growth in spelling is very explicit instruction wrapped around dictation. I dictate the word and give you feedback, which we can do through a remote recording. And finally, this is one of my things that I work very hard to share with teachers. Procedures that have high outcome but low prep. Because once you get down a rhythm for spelling lessons, and we're going to recommend 2 15-minute lessons a week, then you can just plug in to the lesson, to that framework, new words for the purpose of dictation. So, and we are going to use recorded lessons, not live. Now, in the two major webinars that I did for you, we focused on live teaching. But then I got lots of feedback saying, we'd rather, in some cases, have recorded lessons that students could do at any time. And there's a benefit there. So first, as a teacher, you can produce it at any time of day. For example, I am doing this recorded lesson for you, and it is, let me see what time it is. I think it is 8:30. So any time of day, 8:30 at night, I could make a lesson for you. And it also allows the sharing of the lessons with other faculty members. So maybe I'm going to do this week's spelling lessons, and my collaborative teacher is going to do the next week, so we can record the lessons and use it collaboratively. But it also benefits the students. And Most houses might have one computer, but not one for every human in that house. And so they're busy. And so the student could listen to it at any time. The student could say, spelling. I am going to do it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm going to do my spelling lessons at 8 o'clock as the first thing in the day. So it works better for your students, works better for you. And this was in one of your comments after I did the first webinars. And that is, if we record them, I could use them in the future. Maybe we're all back to school, but I have children that are ill. They could do the recorded lessons. I have students that aren't in school for whatever reason or need more practice. We could use what we made during the pandemic. So for many reasons, it works. There are some challenges with recorded lessons, though, that having done this one and tried it out with children, here are the major challenges. One is we want to ensure success. And we do that using some of those variables we already talked about. I do it, we do it, you do it. But we also have to be particularly careful about the active participation. It's harder to do a recorded lesson, and yet we know that opportunities to respond will be directly related to the amount of learning. So we're going to use a variety of active participation. I'm going to have the students say things. I'm going to have them write things. In fact, I'm going to have them have basically a virtual whiteboard to write on. They can write on paper, but a whiteboard means they can wipe it off and write again and write off and write again. And then I'm going to give them feedback, because learning requires that you take an opportunity to respond and you get immediate feedback. And so we have to set that in so that that occurs. And I'm going to also hold the kids accountable. I had so many teachers say in our district, we're supposed to make this really totally optional. If it is important for us to do it, if we have designated it's important to our students, it's important to hold them accountable. And so all of these variables need to occur. So we are going to see these same attributes we talked about earlier, setting the kids up for success, opportunities to respond with active participation, consistent, immediate feedback, and holding them accountable. So you should have, for all your recorded lessons, you should have some screen that comes up first. This happens to be 4th grade spelling lesson, and I use the spelling words from Journeys. And so could have done any of the core programs. I could have picked these spelling words from those. So if I am going to have a recorded lesson, I would start it out by greeting the students and remind them that they have to enter being prepared. What does that mean? So be my students. So welcome to this spelling lesson. And remember, you have to be prepared for class. So check out that you have an area that is free from distractions. Okay, and remember, every time you come online, be certain that you are charged up or plugged in. And you have your materials ready. A pencil, a piece of lined paper will do. So during the recorded lesson, these are the things that are critical for you to do. Sort of our rules for these lessons: that you have your video on at all times, that you listen very attentively, that you'll be present and avoid distractions, and you participate. So how are you going to participate? Well, just like we would do in our classroom, you're going to say responses. And so I know that people might be around you in your home, but I want you to say answers. You can whisper them, but you have to say them, because our goal here is learning, and only if you do make the responses I request will you learn. So say the answers, and you're going to write answers So have that paper available. I've got my paper available, and touch the answers on the screen. So one of the activities we do, you're going to try to touch the screen in a column as quickly as you can before the answer pops up. So you're going to say answers, write answers, and touch the screens. When you write neatly, and turn in your work. All right. So you already have had instruction, and because we used it all last year on Google Classroom, so that's where you're going to store your work so I can see it. And if you would, ask a guest to join you at the end of the lesson for show off, where you're going to show off what you've learned, and they're going to dictate some words and you're going to write them down. All right, we have our rules. And so this is day 1 of Unit 1 in Journey's 4th grade spelling. And you're going to do 2 lessons every week. And unit day 1 and day 2 on the unit will be on the same group of words. So you have more than one practice. And so let's get at it. So put your finger on the word I on your screen. And as I read it, you read it with me, our learning intention, and go. I am learning to spell 1 and 2 syllable words with short O, the sound ah, and long O, the sound O. Short O, ah, long O, O. And these are the ways that you can see if you're learning it. First one, again, put your finger under the word and read it with me. I can sort words with the short O, the sound ah, and long O, the sound O, by graphing, which means letters that represent the sound. So you're going to have words that you sort. And we're going to also do number 2, put your finger under the words and go. When dictated words, I can correctly spell words with the short O, sound ah, and long O, the sound O. And last one, and thank you for putting your finger on it and go. When dictate a sentence, I can correctly write the sentence. So you're going to be dictated words. I'm going to say them, you're going to write them, and also a sentence. All right. First, let's do the activity where we sort and go on the chart to the left. Put your finger on the first square, and it says short O. And again, say the sound ah, good, as in stop and moth. Say those words with me. Stop and moth. And then next square, long O. The sound O here made by the letters O-W. What letters? O-W. Good. And example words. First word is low. Next word is window. Next square. Here is another way that we make long O. The letters are O-A. What letters? O-A. And in a word, they have the sound O. And the words are oats and floats. And the words are oats and floats. Good. Next square. Here we have long O made with O with an E at the end. Words, mole, hope. Touch them and say them. Mole, hope. Okay, so those are 3 ways that we make the sound represent the sound O in words. O-W, O-A, O-E. But there are some other ones too that we will learn that don't happen very often. Most often it's O-W, O, O-A-O, or O final E. All right, so here we have teacher talk. We're going to use a simple routine here where they're going to see a word, we're going to say it, then they're going to spell it, and then they're going to say it again, and then they're going to find the column that it goes in. So this is a very consistent routine that we could use in our recorded lessons. Say, spell, say, find the column, and say the letters that represent the sound. All right, ready for the demonstration. So back to being my students. So touch the word. The word is wrote. Say, spell, say the word. Wrote, spell it, W-R-O-T-E. Say it, wrote. Let's do that again, because we're going to constantly use say, spell, and say. Say, spell, say. And say it, everyone. Wrote, spell, W-R-O-T-E. Say it, wrote. Now, as quickly as possible, put your finger under the column where the sound O is made. And did you beat me? Okay, that's the whole goal, is to try to get the column before I get there. So once again, the word is wrote. Next word. And this word is shown. Say the word shown. Spell it S-H-O-W-N. Say it, shown. Okay, something was shown to me. Your good spelling was shown to me. Get ready, find the column, and go. Did you get there first? So shown is spelled with what letters representing the sound O? O-W. Perfect. Okay, and next one. And this word is shock. You cannot shock me. What word, everyone? Shock. And spell, say, and go. Shock. Spell S-H-O-C-K. Say it, shock. Get ready, find the column, and go. Right. Because shock has a sound ah. Shock has a sound ah. And teacher talk. So we're going to go through the words in this way. And I set it up so that it would be really sort of a game in that the students have to try to find the column before the word pops up. A little excitement, but notice the routine. I say the word, and then they say it, spell it, say it again, find the column, a routine. And so we go through the remaining words, which is half of the list, because we're going to do this in 2 days, same way. And first half of the words, and then the second half of the words provided, in this case, by Journeys. Okay. And notice, teachers, all you have to do, because you're going to get the PowerPoint, is plug into this template your own words. Okay, and so then we're going to do dictation. And so the students are going to, I'm going to tell them a word. That's why we had to write it down. You can't show them the word and they wouldn't have to think about it. So I'm going to say the word and they're going to repeat it. Then we are going to, if it's a single syllable word, slow it down and tap out the sounds. If it is a multisyllabic word, we're going to slow it down and say the syllables. And then the students are going to either say the sounds as they write it or say the syllables as they write it. And then they're going to be shown the word and they're going to look at it and compare it. If it's not correct, they're going to cross it out and rewrite it. All right, so back to being my students. Okay, students, our first word is wrote. What word? Wrote. And put your hand down and you're going to tap out the letter, the sounds, and go wrote. But there's a tricky part of this word. So think back when we looked at the word wrote and write it down. And check it and spell it with me, W-R-O-T-E. So I wrote it down. If you miss the word, cross it out and rewrite it again. Teacher talk. The challenge here is giving them an adequate amount of think time. And now, on whatever platform you're going to use, often has the opportunity for them to pause. But when we tried this out with third graders, fourth graders, and fifth graders, we found that they would pause it and they would lose it and so forth. And so that did not work very well. So instead, what I would do is I would measure the amount of think time and writing time by you writing it and doubling the amount of time. So I wrote the word wrote, just as I asked them to do it. Then I waited a few more seconds before I showed them the feedback. Because we want the students to not just copy the word, but to use retrieval practice. I mean, they've seen it, they've already used say, spell, say, and now I want them to retrieve it from memory, write it down, and then get feedback on it. Let's do one more just as an example. All right, notice, so I've set this up so nothing's on the screen, but there's a reminder to you about the teaching procedure. So our next word is fellow. What word? Fellow. So I might say, over there is a boy and he is a fellow. So say the word again, fellow. Put your hand on your table. We're going to slow it down and say the oral syllables in the word and go. Fellow. Say it again, fellow. Now say those syllables to yourself and write the word. Okay, look at it. Be certain it looks correct. And check it. Spell it with me. F-E-L-L-O-W. So in this word, the sound O is represented by what letters? Right, O-W. So we continue with this same routine where we introduce a word and they repeat the word. If it's single syllable, we slow it down and have them say the sounds, then have them say the sounds as they write it, or say the oral syllables. If it's a multisyllabic word, have them slow it down and say those syllable parts as they write it, have them examine the word and ask if it's correct, and then give them the feedback. So it's set up here. Notice, all you have to do is take the PowerPoint and you can make it your own. So that is exactly what we're going to do. And through the words, they're not able to make it go forward. Only you, as you record it. That's why it's real important to watch the amount of thinking time. And then the students are dictated a sentence. Let me back up and model that. So today our sentence is this, listen. The time was shown on the clock. Can you say that? The time was shown on the clock. The first part is the time was shown. Say it. The time was shown. Write it on your paper. Teacher talk. Again, you're going to measure the amount of thinking time by writing at the same time as your students and then giving them extra time. Next part of the sentence is on the clock. Repeat that, on the clock. Write it. All right, let's check it out. On your paper, I want you to put a tally mark. Let me show you this for each word that you get correct. Okay, so keep a little tally going. So the first word is the, spell it, T-H-E, in your tallies. If you spelled the correctly, give yourself a tally mark. If you have it with a capital, give your second one. Next word is time, spell it, T-I-M-E. If you get it right, give yourself another tally. And next word is was, spell it, W-A-S. Give yourself a tally if you spelled it correctly. Next word is shown, and spell it and go. S-H-O-W-N. Give yourself a tally if you got it right. Next word is on, O-N. Next word is the, T-H-E. Give yourself a tally mark for that word. And the last one is clock, spell it, C-L-O-C-K. Do you have a period at the end of your sentence? If so, give yourself 2 points for that. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many points did you get? Teacher talk. So having a sentence allows us to also include some review of mechanics in terms of capitalization and punctuation, but it also increases the probability of transfer of the spelling words to their own writing. And we have a closing to our lesson. And so you hand your paper to the guest, where you've written down the words, and they are going to dictate 2 of the words. They're going to turn their paper over after they know what the words are, and they're going to dictate 2 on the back with no seeing the word. And then in our next lesson, we are going to spell additional words with short O and long O. So there is a closing to the lesson. Now, how could the kids give you feedback? Well, when we did this with our trial students, we simply did this. We had them take their phone, put it on photo, and then put it over what they had done, their list of words, and boom, did a picture, and then they sent it to the teacher. And another possibility is they could make a file and put it into Google Docs. So this is worth doing. This is 2 15-minute lessons a week. The students will get better at spelling, but it will also reinforce their decoding. And next year, and the next year, and the next year, you can utilize it for students who need more practice or students who've been absent. So thank you for tuning in to a spelling lesson. And we will also have available to you the actual PowerPoint so that you can download right into it your spelling words. Have a great day.